The Monster of Canterlot Chapter 32. It had been a week since I came to Appaloosa, and I was loving every minute of it. Well, almost. The mare I'd never met before, but had made herself comfortable on the stool next to mine at the bar said, "For a two-legger, you're pretty cute." "Oh? Yeah. How's about you and I get out of here and go somewhere more private?" Sounds enticing, but no. Thanks for the ego boost, though. I turned back to my cider like the short conversation had never happened. "What? Why not?" "Because I'm not interested in some pony like you." "What's that supposed to mean? Do you not like mares or something?" "No, I like mares just fine. Just not ones like you." "What do you mean? Am I too fat? Too young? Too old? Do you think I'm ugly? Why ain't you interested?" "Because you're not really interested." She winced like I had slapped her. "If you were really interested in me and not after something else, like fame and fortune, you wouldn't have prefaced your question with a phrase like, 'for a two-legger.' Even if you were serious, I still wouldn't be interested, because I'm not interested in any romance at this time. Now please, allow me to finish my drink in peace." The mare stuttered. She desperately wanted to find a valid argument, but couldn't. Instead, she could only huff and stomp out of the salt lick. That was a couple of days ago, and I haven't been bothered by random mares since. I didn't want to be mean to her, but that business with Rose had left me bitter. I didn't like it, but I couldn't seem to stop it either. It just kept bubbling to the surface. But I had bigger things to worry about. For some reason, both the sun and moon were sharing space in the sky, and it wasn't because the royal sisters were sharing. Ponies and buffalo alike were coming to me for answers that I didn't have. Besides, I was scared too. The only way this could happen was if something had happened to both Luna and Celestia. Celestia had more than enough power to move both the sun and moon, maybe even at the same time. Luna could obviously move the moon, but could she move the sun? It would just leave her drained both physically and magically for the rest of the day. I lost count of how many letters I sent out to Ponyville, Canterlot, and the Crystal Empire. I needed some pony to tell me something, but none could. All I could do was use the skills I've watched Celestia use many times to keep a calm exterior while I quietly panicked on the inside. Somewhere, my closest family was in serious trouble, and I couldn't do anything to help them. Thankfully, whatever had happened had been handled by Twilight and her friends. Apparently, more than 1,000 years ago, Discord had literally planted the seeds of chaos. The only reason they hadn't sprouted sooner was the Tree of Harmony. Since said tree having lost its strength, the seeds were finally able to sprout. If it weren't for the element bearers giving up their actual elements, we all would have been in serious trouble. I only wish I could have been there. But no. Where was I when my friends and family needed me? All the way out on the far side of the Badlands, trying to escape a damn lie from some cheating mare's friends. I couldn't be with my family, who only wanted to support me in my time of need, and so I wasn't there to support them. I was now not just bitter, but furious with myself. "Oh, honey, stop that. There's no way any pony could have known this was going to happen." "That is right, nephew. None of this was your fault. I, more than any pony, knows how hard it is when your own subjects do not trust you. Besides, we are both safe and healthy, so there is no reason to continue beating yourself up." "But I should have been there for you!" I had an arm around each mare and was holding on for dear life. "No pony knew what had happened, and I was worried I had lost you. I'll never leave you again. Christopher, you know I love you very much, but you cannot stay cooped up in the castle anymore." Celestia pried my arm from her neck so she could look me in the eye. "I know I tried to keep you to myself in the past, but I see now that that was wrong. You've made great friends and helped ponies in need. As much as you think you need to be here, ponies out there need you more." "Indeed. Besides, if you spend all of your time in the palace, there will never be a grandfool for Celestia." Both Celestia and I looked at Luna like she had lost it. "What? There are still orphanages, are there not?" When I woke up, I was still feeling pretty lousy. A little better, but still lousy. Self-loathing is a gnarly monster. Mid-morning found me sitting by myself in the orchard. I just needed some time to myself. Unfortunately, or fortunately maybe, that wasn't to be. There was apparently some work that needed to be done on the trees at that moment. "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know any pony was out here." A mare with bright blue eyes, black mane, and very dark brown fur said as she rounded the tree I was sitting under. I don't think we met before. My name's Desert Will. What's yours? Seriously? I'm Christopher Soul. Nice to meet you. I didn't really feel like giving any pony my full title right now. That's an interesting name, but then again, you're an interesting creature. No offense. No, none taken. I mean, I am the only human on accused. Really? Well, I guess that would be why I've never seen one of you before. She giggled at her own statement. So, what are you doing out here? Oh, just checking the trees for buds, parasites, and fruit bats. What about you? Will asked as she sat down next to me. I needed some time to myself. Recently had a family emergency that thankfully turned out okay, but I wasn't there for. I guess I'm just beating myself up over it. Well, that's no good. I chuckled and nodded in agreement. Hey, how about you lend me a hoop? It'll get your mind off of things and it'll give us a chance to talk. Yeah, alright. Willow and I spent the next few hours closely inspecting the trees in the orchard. She had told me that she was new to the town and hadn't really gotten a chance to meet any pony yet. Apparently, she had come from another small town not too far from Las Vegas, but had come to the new Appaloosa to get away from her family. She wasn't in trouble, she just wanted to be on her own. So far, she was enjoying the friendly ponies and the hard work. I told her that I came from a small town myself, which was not technically a lie. My hometown on Earth would have been somewhere between the size of Canterlot and Ponyville. I told her that I had a small family back home and I was missing them dearly. By the end of our time together, I was indeed feeling better about myself. By the time we had finished our inspection, it was starting to get dark. We decided to meet again the next day, since we had had such a good day together. It was nice, after everything that had happened, to meet some pony who seemed to have no intention of trying to use me for my crown. Plus, it was really nice to have met a pony who didn't flat out think I was a monster at first glance. Come to me, my child. Tell me, what news have you of our next meal? The queen asked of her spawn in a voice that seemed to be made of a dozen different voices. Her spawn, a smaller version of the queen, walked in and bowed before her mother and ruler. Both had a sleek black exoskeleton that shined in the limited light, crooked horns, and insect-like wings. The smaller of the two began to let out a series of clicks that only they could understand. I've been watching him for a few days, my queen. He is a strange creature. I can sense a torrent of emotions coming from him. He is angry at himself and the world in general. Yet, at the same time, there is love. So much love that it is overwhelming. He would be a feast. Excellent work. Keep a close eye on him. When the time is right, we shall take him and feed off his love until there is nothing left. Yes, my queen, it shall be done. The smaller creature bowed before she turned and walked out of the throne chamber. As she made her way through the dimly lit corridors, a thought kept cycling through her mind. Why? She knew they needed the love to survive and breed, but why did it always sit so poorly with her? All her brothers and sisters seemed totally fine with it, but she got woken up by the screams, replaying themselves in her dreams some nights. Even that annoying blue mare they recently acquired had made her feel endlessly guilty. With any luck, he'll just leave town before they get an opportunity to take him. Besides, if he truly was the only one of his kind, then taking him from the world would mean the end of a species even more unique than her own. Made her hate her assignment even more. But what could she do? Her kin needed to feed, and there was only one thing they could digest. It was hard enough being way out here in the middle of nowhere without her conscience causing her to let prey go. As much as she hated it, she had to do it. The next morning, after breakfast, I met up with Willow. Together, we walked down to the river to enjoy some more peace and quiet. She even managed to locate a fishing rod for me. Once again, we spent a few hours just idly chatting. It was the kind of relaxing day that reminded me of growing up, watching Zostia teach Twilight in the gardens of the palace. Though, instead of high-powered magic, it was fish, chasing corn on a hook. So, I was thinking I should cut my vacation short and just head home. Really? Will looked up at me, which wasn't very far since I was sitting on the ground with my feet in the water. Why would you want to do that? Well, I came here to get away from some trouble, and I think that's been accomplished. I looked into her eyes. I will miss you, though. I don't have a lot of friends, but I'd like to consider you as one. Willow looked away from me, as if the far side of the river suddenly became very interesting. Yeah, me too. I placed a hand on her shoulders. Listen, if you are ever in Canterlot, ask for me. It won't really matter who you ask, they'll be able to point you in the right direction. Either way, I'll make sure to write to you. She sighed. That'd be good. Hey, what's wrong? I told you I wouldn't be staying for long. Besides, I can always come back for a visit. I know, but that's not the problem. Will suddenly stood up and trotted away without saying another word. She sounds very nice, honey. Are you sure she's just a friend, though? Celestia asked with a mischievous smile. I had actually managed to somehow fall asleep while still fully clothed. After my talk with Will, I had come back to my hotel and laid down for a bit. It would seem I had drifted off. Impressive when you consider I was still wearing my dagger across the small of my back. Of course, the feathers were under my shirt, where they always were. Yes, Mom, I'm sure. The last thing I want right now is romance, I said as I hung my head in self-pity. Luna, who had decided to stay in our current form for this dream walk, wrapped a wing around me. I understand your feelings of betrayal, but these feelings will pass. I promise. Someday you shall be ready again. Thanks, Aunt Luna. I leaned into her shoulders and hugged her. Her fur was impossibly soft, softer than normal, but I think that was just her showing off a little since we were in her realm. Hopefully, it won't be too long before that happens. I'm certain it won't, Celestia reassured me as she wrapped her arms around me and her sister. She's almost become addicted to her dream realm human form. Besides, you've already proven it to yourself that you can attract mares all on your own, even without the crown to catch your eye. I let out a single chuckle. Yeah, May. Chris? Luna? Where'd he go? Where's my baby? I do not know, sister. He was awoken on his side. You should not worry yourself. I am certain he is fine. I wasn't. Um, what's going on? I was woken when I was dumped bodily on the floor of a dark, dank cell. I'd been transported here in my sleep by changelings. They'd apparently lifted my blanket while I was wrapped inside it. I'd never met a changeling in person, but recognized them from their attack on Canterlot during my cousin's wedding. I knew it was changelings because there was 4 of them staring at me, looking away in their weird language. Well, 3 of them were staring at me. One was only looking at the corner. The question was, what did they want with me? Well, you gonna say something, or are you just gonna stare at me with your weird little bug eyes? You must forgive my children. A voice came from the shadows behind the 4 in front of me. Those same 4 parted in the middle, and a larger changeling with similar colors to the smaller ones, except for a teal mane and tail, and the creepiest eyes I've ever seen. I mean, there are layers of green with feline irises. Creepy. They're not used to seeing a creature as strange as yourself. Okay, they've seen me. Now let me go. I growled at the queen that I knew had imprisoned and impersonated Cadence. If it weren't for the bars of the cell I was trapped in, I would have happily shown her how I felt on that particular matter. On the other hoof, it didn't always pay to advertise that you were a crowned prince. Oh, I'm afraid we can't do that. You see, my younglings are hungry, and you're the best single source of sustenance we've come across in a very long time. Good luck with that. Magic doesn't affect me like your normal Ecus natives. Aw, I guess that just means we'll have to keep you secured here until we can figure out how to work around that little issue. The queen turned and headed out of the chamber. You might as well get comfortable. All I could do was scowl at her honor guard as they too turned to leave. Again, 3 of them seemed to be focused on intimidation, while the 4th had something else on its mind. One could almost say it looked ashamed. And that was when my vacation became a nightmare.